So, Marianne Williamson, who is one of the many candidates currently running for the Democratic nominee in the primary for the presidential race, recently went on this show called The Rising that The Hill puts out now, with these two new anchors on there that are it's quite like a far left show. It's really seems like a mainstream publication really embracing the new left, basically, like the real progressives, um, and just embracing the new wave that's taking over the Democratic Party, but which is a positive thing. Um, and honestly, to me, it's like the more left-wing content on YouTube, the better. But excuse me. But Marianne Williamson went on the show, and she well, I don't know if I want to use the word endorsed, but she basically said that she's adopting Andrew Yang's UBI plan called the Freedom Dividend. And if you don't know what UBI is, stands for Universal Basic Income. So that's like a monthly amount that every single citizen gets paid. And the Freedom Dividend is $1,000. Now, I'm going to make another video coming probably next week about why Andrew Yang's Universal Basic Income plan is bad and why I don't support Andrew Yang. But for now, I actually have the clip where Marianne Williamson says this, and then I can show it to you, and then I have some thoughts.
Very interesting quote. You're one of the other candidates that I think has interesting ideas and is approaching this campaign from a just fundamentally honest perspective is Andrew Yang, another one who's been sort of written off by the media. And the core of his platform, he has many policy positions, but the core is this idea of what he calls a freedom dividend or universal basic income. What do you think of that idea?
I think he's right. I think we have a tsunami coming at us in the form of automation. I think a lot of people just haven't really stopped to think about it. I read his book, The War on Normal People. I don't know if you've read it yet, but boy, he lays it out. You know, there are countries, there are states, for instance, where, and I think about 9 states, where the primary industry is trucking. Well, trucks are going to be driverless. So if somebody's had a career as a truck driver for decades, where are they supposed to go? What are they going to do? And when people say, oh, we're going to have job retraining statistically has not been the great boon that we thought it was going to be, because it's one thing to retrain people. What are they supposed to do with that retraining if they don't have jobs? So when you look at how many of our industries are quickly becoming automated and how this is going to be accelerated and how this is going to grow exponentially over the next few years, I think the only way to avoid economic catastrophe is through a universal basic income. And I'll tell you something else that I find so interesting that I didn't know until I read about it recently. Milton Friedman, Crystal, who was the main articulator of trickle-down economics, he was the main one saying, let the market rule, get the government out, let government forces prevail. Do you know he himself, Crystal, argued and said, well, of course, to do this, though, we're going to have a universal basic income to make it safe.
Yeah, Friedman supported it. Nixon actually explored the idea, so it has a lot of support on both the left and the right that you wouldn't necessarily expect. 2 quick questions for you. So the next debate.
Okay, so yeah, I don't have any disagreements with her points about automation and stuff like that. I do think that is a threat that the left needs to face. Maybe I don't think it's as great of an existential threat in its magnitude that Andrew Yang and all these other people seem to think it is. But, the main point here is when she says at the end, she literally says, like Milton Friedman said, that this universal basic income idea is a good idea. And for those of you who don't know, Milton Friedman is like one of the main philosophizers and theorists behind like right-wing libertarianism. specifically the economic end of that area of the political spectrum. So he's one of the forefathers of that right-wing type of ideology. And that's why I think Andrew Yang is a right-wing, kind of right-wing libertarian candidate. He kind of represents that lane of things in a lot of ways. For the simple fact that his universal basic income plan, which apparently Marianne Williamson doesn't know about this, but his plan does not stack with other pre-existing social programs. So if you're already on welfare, you would have to drop your welfare and switch to the Yang Bucks, to the $1,000 a month flat. And now the reason why the right wing likes this idea is because it gets rid of the social safety net. By default, by proxy, pretty much, because it makes those other social programs obsolete in the form of, like, the market for them, but it doesn't make them obsolete in terms of the need. So it still falls into a right-wing, pathological type of economic worldview based on hierarchy. And not based on human needs. But, apparently, now I like Marianne Williamson, but apparently she doesn't know this. Apparently she doesn't know. She hasn't looked behind the Yang curtain yet to reveal the fact that this is a bad policy idea. And it's just kind of frustrating to see her doing this, because it makes me think for future thoughts about the future of this primary. It's like, well, Marianne Williamson is polling really low. Despite the fact that, you know, she's my third choice, she's polling pretty low. She's probably not going to get the nomination. She's probably not going to win the race. So, when she drops out, this is making me think, because somebody literally commented this on this video. It was just basically all Yang supporters I saw in the comments of this video, of this Hill video. Somebody literally said, like, she's gonna come out and endorse Yang when she drops out. And I'm afraid of that happening. I'm afraid of Marianne Williamson dropping out and endorsing Andrew Yang, and then everyone who supported her goes and supports Andrew Yang. Because that splits the non-establishment vote too much, okay? That splits the non-establishment vote too much. Now, I don't think we thought, in the beginning of this race, I don't think we thought of the fact that these people like Yang and Marianne are crowding up the non-establishment field, because we saw it as progressives versus corporate. But no, it should really be non-establishment candidates versus establishment candidates. And the non-establishment candidates being everyone ranging from Bernie to Warren, who I would say is kind of on the edge of those two things, but we can make another video about that later as well. A video that was actually already supposed to come out. To Tulsi, to Yang, to Marianne Williamson. You know, like, those are basically the anti-establishment candidates on the field right now. And then you have the establishment candidates, which is like Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Kamala Harris, Biden, Beto O'Rourke, Buttigieg, John Delaney, those people. So, yeah, we always needed more of them than us, which there are, but we still can't split our vote too thin, because, like, Yang would then need to drop out as well and endorse Bernie Sanders. That's what would have to happen. But I have some more, so basically what I'm saying in this video is that I hope Marianne Williamson does not go down that road and join the Yang gang. But with that being said, because that would really make me reconsider her entirely. But with that being said, I have some general thoughts about the race. In general, with the fact that Bernie Sanders is, well, for me, this was my general thought about the race, about just the presidential race in this year in general. It seems like a lot of people are framing it as, we need to defeat Trump. We need to defeat Trump. And even Bernie Sanders frames himself to the mainstream media as, I am the best person for the job of defeating Trump, defeating this evil man. And I think that's smart, because he's playing to what they care about. He's playing to their priorities while not compromising any of his own priorities. Notice how he can do those two things congruently, which is what makes him such a great political candidate. He's not wrong either. It showcases his strength in the matter. But for me, and this is contrary to what the Bernie line, what Bernie says about himself, because he frames it as, I care about defeating Trump, this campaign is about defeating Trump, blah, 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 blah. Let's not focus on just defeating this evil man. Let's focus on defeating this evil system. Let's think about the systems, okay? Let's think systemically. Because the problem didn't start when Trump entered office, okay? Like all these #resistance Democrats think. Trump is just saying the quiet parts loud. And that's the bottom line. But yeah, email me at socialrevolution2019@gmail.com if you want to talk about anything, or just leave a comment, honestly. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.